Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today, it was a big day. It was the Falcom Shareholder Meeting, the annual Falcom Shareholder Meeting. Of course, we get this every year, and it was a weird one really, because we kind of knew what the big release was going to be. We saw it at a Nintendo Direct about 2 months ago, but there were still some big questions that needed to be answered. That being said, the event was somewhat overshadowed by the recent passing of founder Masayuki Kato and first president of Nihon Falcom, who passed away at the age of 78. Obviously, all of our thoughts are with his family at this time. And irrespective of what you may think about Kato the man and, the issues he may have had in regards to decisions he may have made, let's face it, the guy wasn't perfect, but none of us are. We're all flawed. I think we should be remembering this guy for bringing us Nihon Falcom, okay? This is the guy who brought us Nihon Falcom. He was a pioneer in the genre, and he was a big reason why Falcom gained a lot of popularity in the late 80s and early 90s. So let's remember him for that. Let's remember him for bringing us Nihon Falcom, because without Nihon Falcom, there is no Trails and there is no East. So rest in peace to him. Now, as for the shareholder meeting itself, we were told quite a few things, like I say, before the event even happened. We were under the impression that Trails in the Sky, the first, was going to be the big release for this year. But we were also told that Falcom have anticipated that development costs are going to be increasing ahead of schedule. This comes from Hansuke, and they say that our goal is to release multiple new titles by the fiscal year ending September 2026. So does that say that Falcom are expanding in some way? Is there going to be some sort of change in the structure? I don't know, but obviously we saw that pipeline around about a year ago now, and there was a lot of stuff in that pipeline that we needed to consider. So as far as I saw today at least, we didn't see anything in the shareholder meeting in regards to future plans leading up to 2026, but Falcom have been making big changes anyway in recent years, in particular switching their focus up to the Nintendo Switch. They've been doing a lot of ports like this one here, Legend of Nayata, Boundless Trails for Switch, spring 2022 in Japan. So obviously it came out, I believe, on PlayStation 4 first, then it got ported over to the Switch, as did many other games. Tokyo Xanadu, of course, did come to Switch. Daybreak also came to Switch as well at a later point. And it seems like Falcom are really trying to build that relationship with Nintendo, and you would probably think that's in anticipation of the upcoming Switch 2, which I personally believe we're going to hear an announcement sometime in early 2025 potentially. But it's clear that they are trying to build that relationship, and Nintendo themselves have acknowledged this. This came from My Nintendo News. This article states that one of the many things Nintendo is currently focused on ahead of launching their next generation console is strengthening its relationships with third-party publishers and developers. They released basically a window of all of the companies and developers that they're going to be working with, and you can see right there Nihon Falcom are one such company. So we can see that Nintendo acknowledge that the relationship with Falcom is growing, and Falcom of course have been aiming to grow that relationship as well. And of course that idea of working for the Switch or prioritizing the Switch, that has been a policy of Falcom's since East 10 Nordics. East 10 Nordics was made with the Switch in mind. I thought it looked very good with the Switch in mind, to be honest, actually. But, the idea here was that Falcom were going to carry on making games with the Switch as the main platform. When we saw it at the Nintendo Direct for the first time, we saw that Falcom were going to be releasing it on Switch only. It seemed to be a Nintendo exclusive. Now, I firmly believe that it would come to other platforms eventually, and we would get more information in the shareholder meeting. And sure enough, come today, this shareholder meeting, we have got that information. We have got all of the answers that we seemingly need, okay? So, here it is. Trails in the Sky first chapter will be launching fall 2025 worldwide for PS5, Switch and PC. So there's one of the big questions answered. It's not just coming to Switch, it's coming to PS5 and PC. I firmly expected that was going to happen. I expected PS4 as well, potentially, but PS5, PC, fine, perfect. I'm perfectly fine with that. The fact that we're getting on 3 platforms at launch, perfect, no problem whatsoever. Now, the worldwide release, this is uncharted territory for us. And this is why I potentially thought that maybe we would get it on Switch first, and then it would come to PS5 and PC or something like that later down the line, because of maybe an exclusivity deal, or the fact that Falcom generally release on a single platform first before bringing them to other ones. Like I say, this is uncharted territory. From my memory, I don't think we have ever had a simultaneous release with a new Falcom release. But the thing is with Trails in the Sky First Chapter is that there was no reason why there couldn't be a worldwide release. The translation was done by Xseed. The only things that are going to be changing with Trails in the Sky the First, obviously it's getting that new coat of paint. The combat style is changing as well. You can see down here it's saying that in addition to exhilarating and stress-free combat, which allows seamless switching between the two battle modes, field action and command battle, each character's crafts and arts are on dynamic display. Now, field action command battle, that's the system used in Daybreak. I personally like that combat style. I know some people didn't really latch onto it, but I did. I really liked it. I felt it was a real welcome change for what we needed, and that combat was indeed shown in the trailer, which we'll share right now, so check it out. So yeah, that looked really cool. Now, the big elephant in the room, was the publisher. The publisher, we know who it is now, but it is not who many of us expected. A lot of people said that it was between NIS America and Xseed. Some people even said that it was a done deal with Xseed. It wasn't. It's not. It's GungHo Entertainment, who came right out of left field. GungHo Entertainment, though, they have done stuff like, well, in terms of recent stuff, they've done the Grandia HD collection, which I remember buying a physical version of, and they're also doing Lunar's remastered collection. So now they're also doing Sky First Chapter, or the First, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it, because obviously I believe these guys are quite new to us, but signs are looking good. Like, obviously we're getting it on multiple platforms, and they've also stated as well, it's going to be coming in the West with English and Japanese voiceovers and English, Japanese, French and German subtitles. So it seems like we're going to be getting the full works here. Very interesting to see who's going to be voicing likes of Estelle and Joshua in this remake. Whether they get the originals back, that would be really cool if they do. But like I say, I expected a simultaneous release. There was no reason why there couldn't be a simultaneous release because the translation is already done. The hard work is finished, so to speak. The only thing to consider is that there is going to be some additions. So this came from Stealth on Twitter around about 4 months ago. And he stated that the game is going to feature new details that debuted in later entries of the series post-Sky, which will help cohesion and world building. So there is going to be the need to translate some of that additional stuff. It depends, of course, how much we're going to see, how much more added dialogue there's going to be in this game, if there is going to be any. But again, you'd think that about 90 to 95% of it is already done. It's just a case of sorting out the additions. So we're going to see what happens there. And of course you can see there the sequel, the potential of the sequels. Apparently, again, we haven't heard anything more about this, but they've said that the remake of the remaining parts of the trilogy will only happen if Sky the First sells well. Now, I personally think that Sky the First, or Sky First Chapter, is going to sell very well. I think this is going to be one of the big hitters for Falcom, one of the biggest successes they've had for a long time. I think it's going to outsell any of the Daybreak games, any of the Calvard games, which I think debuted at around about 50,000 units. I firmly expect Sky First Chapter's remake to hit about 80,000 easily. I fully expect it to be back in that bracket with Cold Steel 3 and Cold Steel 4 sales, which were very high. Irrespective of what you think about the quality of the games themselves, I personally believe this one is going to be very successful, if not the most successful game that has released from Falcom in the past, say, decade or so. And that's a good thing. I mean, personally, I would love the whole trilogy to be remade. It might even be the case that they're already working on it and they're just saying that, oh, sales will, you know, we'll only do it if the sales, like, you know, PR talk and all that kind of stuff, that sales have to be good in order to sell it. But to make certain of it, just buy it, okay? Just buy the game. You've got it on various platforms. Just buy the game, show support, show Falcom that we want these remakes done. I would love to see Sky SC remade. I would love to see Sky the Third remade as well. All of them. If we get the whole trilogy, that's massive. Because not only does it solve the problem of the Sky trilogy only being on PC for the longest time, but it also solves a massive problem in terms of where do you start in the Trail series. If you have the full trilogy remade on modern consoles, there is no argument anymore, okay? You start at Sky. That's done. That's finished now. So I really do hope that we do get them. I'd like to think that they will come. I think Kondo's just being a little bit facetious there. You know, it's big news. And of course, we're not even thinking about the other big game that was, well, that is in development as we speak, which is the Tokyo Xanadu sequel. Nothing was mentioned about this in the shareholder meeting, so you'd think that maybe that's going to be coming next year, but at present, we in the West, we're doing very well. We're doing very well for 2025 in terms of Western Falcom games. Don't forget, we're getting East Memoir over from Felgana from Marvelous Games. That's coming in January. February the 14th is going to see Daybreak 2 from NIS America. We're getting Sky First Chapter's remake in fall 2025. And then there's also Kai no Kaseki. Is the potential of Kai no Kaseki also going to come out in 2025? I'm not so sure. It's going to be very interesting to see if that happens, because I don't think it will be in Falcom's interest to have the two of them release at the same time. Maybe it might come sometime early 2026 or something like that, but at the moment, that remains to be seen. But I think there is a good chance we could get Kai no Kaseki in 2025 as well. But even still, 3 games. 3 Falcom games coming in 2025 for us in the West. That is massive. Now, there was one big surprise. There was a big surprise at the end of the Falcom shareholder meeting. East 10 Proud Nordics announced for 2025 in Japan. It is an enhanced or upgraded version of the original. It's got a new story, new setting, and new elements. Apparently it's going to be based on a massive island in the north of the Abelia Gulf, Aland Island. In the midst of battling the immortal creatures known as the Griga, the red-haired adventurer Adol and the pirate princess Kaja visit the island and encounter countless ruins on unexplored lands. Now, I don't know what to think about this, personally, because I really liked East 10 Nordics, and they're basically doing what they did with East 5, where East 5's original release was so easy, they released an expert mode, like, what, a year later. This is a situation where they're doing something similar. And I don't recall them ever doing this for a modern East game, which, you know, like I say, I loved East 10 Nordics. I thought East 10 Nordics was a brilliant game, and it is definitely in my top 3 East games. It's circumvented, or it's jumped over East 9 Monstrum Nox. Yeah, strange one that. We'll have to see what happens. I fully expect this will come west. I probably expect NIS America to take this one on if it does come west. Like I say, I fully expect it to come west as well. But yeah, it's that was a strange one. I expect to see a few more interesting announcements like this from Falcom in the coming days. But for now, like I say, the big one was, of course, Trails in the Sky First Chapter. That was the one. That was the big one. But like I say, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming via the Nintendo Direct. We just didn't know who the publisher was going to be, and we didn't know what the platforms are going to be, or the additional platforms in addition to the Switch. We do know those two things now. It's going to be published by GungHo Entertainment, we're getting English voice acting, and it's also going to be coming to PS5 and PC in addition to the Switch. So, great news. Great news. And hopefully, like I say, it sells really well. I fully expect it to sell well. I fully expect it to sell well, and I fully expect that those sales are going to translate into the remakes of Sky SC and Sky the Third. But that is it, guys. That is it. The shareholder meeting is seemingly done. Haven't heard anything more about it. And yeah, we'll call it there. So, good times on the horizon for 2025. I mean, it's already packed for the first quarter of 2025. Now we've got this to look forward to as well. So, yeah, see you later, guys. Peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe for more JRPG content, and consider joining my Patreon if you're interested. Peace.